What's up guys, Brett Appley here from Daily Fan MMA for another UFC Quick Picks video. We got UFC Fight Night Zombie vs. Ortega on Saturday and what should be a fun card. Of course, we are on the Mayo Media Network. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe right now, like the video, comment below who your favorite pick of the week is, and also make sure you check out the Dogger Pass podcast done by Cody Safdie, Paul Shaughnessy, posted on Wednesday. That is out already. So if you haven't watched the Dogger Pass podcast already, pause this video, go there and watch it, and then come back here for the quick picks. Today we're going to be giving out a cash game play, a tournament play, a salary play, and then another fade of the week. And thank you guys for the support. Last week was the first video I posted on the Mayo Media Network. Cool to see all the comments, the likes, etc. And I feel an obligation to point this out that, you know, this video, we're looking for edges, right? We're looking for edges over the course of a week, a month, a year, and these small edges build up over time. We're not necessarily out here striving for perfection. Of course, that would be nice, but when we're trying to predict the future, when we're trying to predict fist fights, of course I'm going to get things wrong. Of course, not everything's going to be perfect. We're out here looking for edges, right? So it's always important to understand that concept when we're playing against the books and when we're playing against other players. We're looking for edges, small edges that add up over time. And as always, I do think we can find edges on any given slate. Again, this week, Ortega versus Zombie. It should be a fun card. And let's jump right into my cash game play of the week. And I'm going to go with Jim Crute. Jim Crute's up at 9K flat. He is one of the biggest favorites on this slate at minus 310 against Modestas Bukauskas at plus 255. And what I like about Crute on this particular slate is A, his metrics are great. B, he has a style that wins fights and scores well on DraftKings. And he's facing an opponent who should allow that style to play out well. And what I mean is that Crute, in his last fight against Mikhail Alexiejczyk, he attempted 10 takedowns in the first round. He landed 8 of them, eventually locked up that first round submission, but he had to keep going back to the well over and over again. And that's a great style to score well on DraftKings. And now he's facing an opponent in Bukauskas who gives up a lot of takedowns. You go back and look at the regional tape of Bukauskas, a lot of his wins are actually giving up takedown, scrambling back to his feet and landing a power strike late in the fight. And I think that's a path to victory for Bukauskas again here, but I also think it shows that there's potential for Crute to absolutely smash, either by landing several takedowns early, finishing by first round submission, or by simply landing a fair amount of takedowns throughout the fight, advancing position, and winning a decision. I still think he's got a fairly safe score, and that's why I consider him a cash game play on this slate. Again, he is minus 310 to win. That shows safety. He's also minus 160 to win inside the distance, which is one of the best metrics on the entire slate. So again, if I'm paying up, I like that I don't have to go all the way up to 9.1, 9.2K, although those plays are viable as well. Crute is 9K, a strong wrestling floor, ability to advance position, strong potential to win inside the distance, floor ceiling. That's exactly what we look for in cash games. So Crute is going to be my number one option on the slate this week. Next up, I'm going to give out one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate, and it's going to be Jillian Robertson at 8.7K. Robertson is minus 210 over Poliana Botello, plus 175. And again, I really think Robertson has grappling upside in this fight that could lead her to an early submission finish. She absolutely has to get this fight on the ground. Robertson is not a great athlete. She's not a great striker, but she is a strong submission grappler, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, a recent one at that. And all of her victories stem from success on the mat. She's fought in the UFC 7 times, won 5 times, first round submission, second round submission, second round submission, second round TKO from mount, and third round submission. So she has to get her work done on the mat. Averages 3.33 takedowns per 15 minutes, ability to advance position at a high rate as well. And she's fighting an opponent in Botello who is not a horrible defensive grappler, but has already shown some weaknesses on the mat. Her one UFC loss was a first round submission loss against Cynthia Calvillo. And even in her most recent fight against Lauren Mueller, she gave up some top position late and looked a little bit uncomfortable. So I think if Robertson is able to get this fight on the ground, if she's able to earn consistent top position, her ability to advance position is high. Her ability to win by submission is high. And that's what we're looking for in a tournament play. We're looking for ceiling. We don't care as much about the risks because, yeah, Robertson has risks. She's not a great striker. There's a chance she could just get sparked out in a couple minutes with strikes from Botello. But we're looking for 100-point upside at 8.7K, which I do think would end up on the optimal lineup. So Robertson minus 210 to win, minus 140 to win inside the distance, which again is a very strong metric. 8.7K Robertson is one of my favorite tournament plays on this slate for her ability to earn that consistent top control time, advanced position, and hopefully find an early submission. Next up, I'm going to give you one of my favorite salary saving plays on the slate in Claudio Silva at 7.7K. I know the boys at the Dogger Pass podcast may not agree with this one, but look, it really comes down to the price and the potential for success, the path to victory here. Claudio Silva at 7.7K. I really think he can beat James Krause. James Krause is not a full-time fighter anymore. He's a full-time coach and a part-time fighter, which is fine, and he's been a very successful coach, but he's taking this fight on short notice. He's going to have to make a weight cut flying to Abu Dhabi, so I have some concerns in that regard. I also have concerns about the stylistic matchup here because Silva, like other fighters we've talked about, he's a strong wrestler grappler, and he's not going to play around too much on the feet. He wants to get this fight on the ground, and he's very physical and has had success with his takedowns in the UFC. He's landed 3.32 takedowns per 15 minutes, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and James Krause, in a long career, historically, he's only defended takedowns at 50%, which is not a great number, and it does lead me to believe that Silva is going to have success early in this fight. It may not be a quick submission, but I'm pretty confident that Silva's going to be able to at least take Krause down early on, control position for a while, maybe advance position, maybe hunt for a submission. And if I'm projecting Silva to win the first round, it's not too difficult to then think, well, maybe he could win round 2 and maybe he can survive. And if you said, well, Krause has amazing cardio, he's in 100% game shape, then I would be less high on Silva here. But again, he's taking this fight on short notice. He hasn't had a full camp. He's not a full-time fighter. I'm not sure that we get the best James Krause. So at 7.7K, Claudio Silva, when he wins, which I think is a maybe not 50% of the time, but maybe close to it. He's only plus 135 to win at this moment. Plus 230 inside the distance is a good number there. That signifies upside. If he wins at all, it's going to come from takedowns, advances, potentially a submission. This is a play to save you some salary. It's no guarantee, but I think when Silva wins, he's going to score very well based on his style, and I think that win comes fairly often against a fighter who has questionable takedown defense and maybe questionable cardio in this matchup. Finally, I will give you my fate of the week. And again, just to clarify here, the fate of the week is not that this fighter won't win. It's not that you can't touch this fighter. I just don't have a great feeling about this fighter ending up on the optimal lineup. And I gave out Tracy Cortez last week. I thought Agar had a good chance to win. She actually didn't win, but it still worked out in our favor because she did enough to limit the upside of Tracy Cortez. And Tracy Cortez looked good. She won. I think she scored 70 points. So if you had Cortez in your lineups, you weren't getting anywhere close to the optimal lineup. And my play this week is Mateus Gamrot at 8.9K, making his UFC debut here at minus 300 against Guram Kutateladze. There are some unknowns about this fighter. He's 17-0, but 8.9K. The bigger issue for me is just that he's priced in a range with a lot of other fighters who I want access to, who I want exposure to. There's Nurmagomedov, Grishin, Crute, Park, Robertson, the Korean Zombie. All those fighters arguably are as good, if not better plays, more safer plays than Gamrot, higher upside plays to some degree. Gamrot, I think, is a technical boxer. I think he's got solid wrestling. It's not that he can't score well. I just can't personally prioritize him among a lot of these other fighters in this range. Gamrot, his inside distance line is plus 285 at the moment. So we've already talked about fighters who's minus 160 inside the distance, minus 140 inside the distance. Plus 285 is just not, it doesn't signify as much upside here. He has never shown to be a high volume striker. He's never shown to be a high volume wrestler. So could he win this fight? Yeah, I'm picking Gamrot to win this fight. Does he have upside? Yes, but I cannot play every single fighter on this slate. You have to pick and choose a little bit, and there are simply other fighters in this price range who I prefer, which makes Gamrot my fade of the week. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you for the support, as always. DailyFanMMA.com if you want access to full written breakdowns. Got an hour podcast up for you as well. Rankings, projections, all that good stuff. DailyFanMMA.com. You can follow me on Twitter too at Appley, TTP. Best of luck in your contest this week, guys. Comment on the video. Who's your favorite DK play? Like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.